What exactly is masculinity? We'll talk about that. All right, guys, welcome. There's a lot of talk, especially during the election, about what is this concept of masculinity? What is it actually? And so we're going to talk about that. Now, most of the time people think, oh, well, masculinity, it is the opposite of femininity. It's just not true. I believe it's more of a sense of boyhood to manhood. And what do I mean by that? Well, when you're a boy, you're selfish. It's all about you. Everything revolves around you. You're only looking to satisfy pleasure, desire, all of that. Now, as you grow, as you become as you become closer and closer to becoming a man, you start to shed that stuff off. And you hit a point where there's that expectation of a paradigm shift, moving from boyhood into manhood. And that's why so many cultures and civilizations had a rite of passage. And what was it? Rite of passage basically involved stuff like fear, risk, challenge, that you had to go out and handle this test. And if you came back and you had handled the test, you would be viewed as a man by the civilization or the tribe. And there would be new expectations upon you. You would be required to provide for the community, protect the community if there are dangers, and help lead that community. And if you think about it in a modern context of what is masculinity, it is that concept of protect, preside, provide. And when you look at it in that sense, all of a sudden the stuff that's normally toxic masculinity, such as stoicism, competitiveness, aggression, dominance, all of that, those are tools. And unfortunately, what's been said is, oh, those are part of toxic masculinity because those are expectations that are making men feel bad about themselves. Or men aren't applying those tools properly to the things around them. And so then they feel bad about that. And every culture, every civilization has those guys that never met the standards, never stepped up into manhood. And I think it's much more accurate to look at boyhood and say, if there is a male who is fully grown, who has not stepped into masculinity, into true manhood, he's really just a rotted boy. Now, when you have fruit grows, it hits a point where you have to pick it, either right before it's ripe or when it's ripe. If you don't, it rots, it decays. And so if we don't pick that boyhood at the proper time, then manhood can't grow. That boyhood just rots within the man, and all of a sudden he's using the tools to satisfy his boy desires, who he is as a boy. And that's where you see tools like aggression, competitiveness, dominance become very dangerous for everybody around them because they're not using it to sacrifice for the others. They're not using it to uphold responsibility and discipline. They're not pursuing that stuff. They're pursuing self. They're pursuing self-pleasure, all of that. So take an accounting of who you are. Are you applying the tools that you have for the good of those around you, for these foundational ideas such as responsibility, truth, obedience, right? Or are you just seeking pleasure? Are you just seeking self-fulfillment? I think that's a much more accurate representation, and we don't get mixed into this whole redefining masculinity, which every culture and civilization has those people who decide they need to redefine it. Yet if you look through all of them, there seem to be some really strong commonalities of what makes a man. So I hope that helps. I'll see you guys next time.